Good evening. It is 6:30, and on Tuesday, June 24th, we are going to call our meeting to order. With that, Mr. Hollow, will you lead us in our invocation, please?
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening. We thank you so much for your graces. We thank you for your mercy. We thank you so much that you're with us, no matter what we're going through, no matter what we're dealing with. Just like we learned in Luke 8, you are with us. You're there, just like you were there with Jairus' daughter, and you raised her from the dead. So you're with us. You take care of us. You watch over us, and you protect us. We thank you for this council. We thank you for their desire to serve you, to serve the people, take care of the people. We thank you for the people that are here that actually care enough to get out of their houses at the end of a long day after they've been through work, but come here and make their voices heard. We ask that you would watch over us, bless us, and take care of us. It's your son's name we pray. Amen.
Mr. Powers, will you lead us in our pledges? Every time they say God bless Texas, I always want to sing the rest of the song with his own hand. Sorry. So we started doing something here, and we honor a fallen, whether it's first responder, military service member. All meetings are dedicated to that person, and I started doing that in place of the rules of decorum because I figure if we're going to honor somebody who gave their life, I think we don't need to be reminded on how to act and treat one another. So today's name is going to be, and this one may hit some of you close to home, Officer Cooper Dawson, badge number 366, Greenville, Texas Police Department. We will be honoring the meeting in his name today. We are honoring, is the mic up? Normally I'm loud enough, I apologize. So we started honoring fallen members, and today we are honoring Officer Cooper Dawson in our meeting. So I feel that if we can honor someone who gave their life, I think that teaches us how to act with one another is all it boils down to. So with that, so real quick, we're going to go into citizens' comments, and there are a lot of people who have signed up for citizens' comments tonight. So here's the ask. If I call your name and you want to speak in citizens' comments, do so. If you are here to speak on items, the public hearing, which would be on that, which would be 5.1, then hold your comments to 5.1. So if you are here to speak on item 7.3, which would be the roads, you're welcome to speak in citizens' comments, or you can hold your comments to the public hearing. Does that make sense? Everybody? Okay. All right. First up for citizens' comments is going to be Sherry London.
Mayor McNeil and council members, Sherry London, 216 Harvest Ridge. I want to thank each of you who participated in the recent budget workshop. I watched that meeting, and I appreciated seeing real discussion take place, especially from our newer council members. They came in prepared, asked thoughtful questions, and brought forward ideas that reflect the concerns and hopes of the people who supported their run for office. You're doing exactly what we asked you to do. It's been less than a month since the election, and some people have wasted no time starting their criticism of the efforts by our new council members. But I think it's important to remember that what that workshop was, an open and transparent discussion, not a closed-door meeting, not a secret agenda. It's exactly what it should have been, a chance to put ideas on the table and then test those ideas against the reality of our budget. Discussion about our city's future should happen in front of the people where we can hear it, not behind closed doors. And of course, not every idea will pan out, and that's fine. The point of the process is to balance the needs and wants with what our revenue can actually support, with the taxes that we're willing to pay in the process, and maybe even spark new ways to generate future income without burdening residents with higher taxes. That kind of thinking takes courage and creativity. And why be critical of asking questions? The only dumb question is the one that isn't asked. I appreciate the honesty and the vulnerability it takes to gather the information you're going to need to lead the city in the months and years ahead of us. At this point, I'm sure you're each still drinking from the fire hose and trying to absorb all you're learning about city governance. Instead of tearing down the people who are stepping up, we ought to be encouraging them. So I'm taking the time tonight to do that. When folks see that they can serve their community, ask questions, work through tough issues with our support, more good people will be willing to run for office and use their talents for the good of this city. And we need more good, principled people on our city council in every election cycle. That's what a healthy city council looks like. Honest citizens doing their work in the open with and for the people they serve. So thank you for stepping up, bringing your ideas and your individual talents. I look forward to seeing the creativity you'll bring to the table in this budget process and with all the other issues facing our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Next up is David Black.
David Black at 1419 Sienna Lane, McLendon-Chisholm. I wanted to talk on item 7.7, which is the comprehensive plan, which is one of the great things for the city as far as helping to guide us which way we go. 4 years ago, there was a large undertaking to update the comprehensive plan, and a big effort went there. So it's pretty good, but it needs some revisions and some updates, so that's a good thing to do. It looks like it's also going to support budgeting for 2026. I did have a little bit of question if we're opening it up, the plan. I'm wondering what the status is on the short-term action items. Those are things less than 3 years that need to be resolved, less than 3 years from the signing. The signing was September 2021. So I'm just wondering how many of the 33 short-term actions have been completed. Maybe those also will help the budgeting. In the 2021 update, we contracted with Kinley Horn to facilitate planning, which included some very heavy citizen involvement workshops and presentations. They also educated the citizens on the kind of stuff a city is looking for. Now, I don't know what the cost is of that, but I'm wondering if it makes sense to do it again. I'm not so sure if it's been 4 years since the plan, and we have this recent city survey. So I'm thinking those could be considered sufficient to help us resolve things quickly rather than have a big presentation by Kim Horn or whoever. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so next up is pretty much everybody speaking on 7.3. So, if you'll indulge me, does anyone want to speak in citizens' comments besides 7.3? So what I'm going to do is you still get the opportunity to talk, but we're going to be going right into the public hearing. So I'm going to close out citizens' comments, and then I'll start calling y'all up to speak on the public hearing. Is everybody okay with that? Understand what I'm doing there? Okay. All right, so it is 6:39. We will close citizens' comments, and we will open up at 6:39 public hearing for 5.1. A whole lot of beating on the gavel. And Angela, if you'll read 5.1, and then we'll allow the people to speak on that.
Conduct a public hearing to receive public comments on an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 10, Subdivision Regulations, Article 3, Standard Specifications and Construction Details in Subdivisions by adding 10.03.010, allowing private streets to become public streets, providing certain conditions to be met for said streets to be accepted by the City of McLendon-Chisholm.
Thank you. With that, we will open up for the public hearing for citizens' comments. Being that I have the names, I'm going to call them out, and you will just come up when I call your name to speak. Christina M. I'll just go that way. At 291 Briar Glen. I do not want to butcher your last name, but if you tell me how to say it when you get up there, I will appreciate it.
So I'm from 291 Briar Glen, Christina Martzifolio, and I'm just here in support of the ordinance 7.3. Jen came by, so I don't have much to say about it.
That's all you got to say? That is you speaking in support of your community there, so you're good. Curtis Sesson. Hopefully I said that right.
Hey, good evening. My name is Curtis Sesson. I live at 921 Meadow Drive. My family and I moved from Colorado. We've lived at this particular address for about 4 years. And I am here to talk in support of 7.3 as well and the road condition. I can tell you from a law enforcement perspective and first responder perspective that this road has become a liability. Honestly, when seconds matter, this particular road has created a volatile response time to where it's taking minutes, and we can't afford that. It's just not acceptable. And so I want to vocally give you my support, tell you that I am adamantly for this. I can tell you that there was an incident earlier this week where a sheriff's deputy came out, and during this incident, he was in a Dodge Charger, and evidently he had damaged his vehicle just responding to the call. So depending on how the response goes, I mean, it's possible if a car is driving down this road, it could even become impassable and to where the deputy may not actually be able to arrive. That being said, there's also an issue with the culvert. The culvert is unstable. And really those of us that live on the west side of this culvert, if it were to fail, would be stranded indefinitely until it was repaired or replaced. So I appreciate you listening and your attentiveness towards this matter. And I want you to know that I am fully in support of it. So, thank you.
Thank you, Curtis.
Mayor, if you'll excuse me just a moment, we are having a problem with the
I'm going to go
broadcast.
into a recess. I just got notified that there's some issues with the broadcast, so I'm going to take you think a 5-minute recess will get you there? Angela, 5 minutes or need a little longer? So we're just going to take a quick 5-minute recess at 6:43, and I apologize. It's 6:48. We're going to come back from our 5-minute recess. We've been able to correct the sound, so we're going to move on. Next up on the public hearing for 5.1 is Mr. Kevin Carson.
Kevin Carson, 920 Meadow Drive, and I've supported that as well as agenda item 7.3. Officer Assassin took most of my impetus I was going to talk about last week, so I'll just throw a shout out to Mr. Holla's nice suit and tie and white socks. He's really rocking it. I wish I could look that good, but but anyway, our history, we're not going to get into all that, but my family and I are supportive of this, and it's time. Chief Simmons has talked on it in the past. It's getting to be dangerous to the school district. Spoke on it. The law enforcement. Down the line, it's time. It's the right time to do this. It's right for our neighbors, for our community, our city as a whole. And I appreciate so much you guys even considering it tonight and talking about it. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. And what we'll do just for expeditious time, I know we want to applaud everybody. Let's just do one big round at the very end, and we'll just celebrate all together. Next up, James Parnell. I apologize, James. You're not going to get any applause until the end now. So I should have let one more go. I apologize.
Just for me, James Parnell, 621 Glen Acres. Not to be redundant, a little bit different aspect I want to take is Heath has looked at this and we talked and discussed that. So a lot of the council people and citizens have looked, we want to model the city after Heath. Heath's value is great. Improving the roads is one of the best ways to improve your home value. You have a great difficulty, not just using our road, but any bad road, people aren't going to want to buy it. It's too difficult to get down. All the other issues that they have there. So we'll turn this and look at it a little different. The increased value by having a good road increases the value of your house. What does that do? Increase the taxes, which means the city gets more money on that. I know that this ordinance is kind of a private-public partnership. Great. We do it all the time. You guys know I'm a Dallas police officer. I go to the Dallas City Council meetings. I'm involved in all the political stuff in Dallas. So there is tons of private-public partnerships. That's what this ordinance looks to me in reading it. Yes, the city does do, but the citizens will have to pay some too. That's a great idea. That brings the community in and has stake. Now they're the huge stakeholder. We're putting our money in, as well as the cities, to do something good for the community, increasing the value of the homes, and not just ours, but in all. 80% of the houses, or 80% of the roads are private. We know that the future developments and all these future developments that you're doing, that the roads are going to be maintained by the city. This is the opportunity at this point later. It won't. It'll be too difficult. There'll be too many things. This city's growing huge. We all know this. You've seen the forecast and what we're looking at in the growth of the city. This 6,000, when I moved here 25 years ago, it's 300 people. 300 people. Now we're over 6,000. It's going to double and double. And so I think this is the best opportunity to do this, to capture it, bring everyone together, friends and neighbors that we all are, and look at it. And I appreciate your time.
There's that one. Deputy? No. All right. Next up, Mr. Crawford.
Uh, 5.1 in the I wanted to speak on 5.1. Phil, we need to start addressing issues with McLendon-Chisholm streets now and not later. I say that with a qualifier in that while the city should move with urgency, that urgency should not cancel out fiscal responsibility. There are obvious reasons to take over streets, and Glen Acres is the prime example. Street maintenance of any neighborhood, be it private streets or public streets, has one thing in common, and that's taking the initiative to keep up maintenance. As an HOA president of Chisholm Crossing, I can see where it is easy to keep other issues and demands at the forefront of each year's budget and ignore infrastructure that is supposed to last a long time, but all of a sudden it fails. I'm also finding out how difficult it is for HOAs to maintain an adequate amount of participation to maintain budgets, and that any HOA over 20 years of age is going to experience aging issues that make it difficult to financially support any large project such as roads. I feel the good people of Glen Acres, and that even includes Kevin Carson, have done their best with this situation. But I also know that road repair and maintenance is expensive no matter who bears the responsibility. There are going to be many large expenses incurred by the city of McLendon-Chisholm as we grow. Not long ago, water infrastructure was being looked at for obvious reasons. After being heavily involved in that issue, I have come to the conclusion that it was just simply not the right time to incur the expense of starting a water department. While daunting, I believe the city should have control of the streets and would do a good job with that responsibility, and I am 100% willing to push this with the residents of Chisholm Crossing. I would, however, hope that federal grants such as the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant, Rural Surface Transportation grant, Surface Transportation Block Grant, and state programs like Texas Community Block Grant have been explored. The major issue here is not the eventual turning of private streets over to the city of McLendon-Chisholm. It's when is it physically responsible to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up, Diana Broski.
I'm Diana Broski. I live at 850 Meadow Drive in Glen Acres. And I'm going to say I am strongly in support of 7.3, agenda number 7.3. My family and I we've lived in this subdivision in this house for 37 years. We raised our family in this house, and we love our neighborhood. Our grandkids only know this as home, but we have reached a point where honestly, they don't even want to come out. We don't do family get-togethers anymore. It was always our house that people came to us, where we had the family gatherings. They don't want to anymore. I mean, granddaughter-in-law, last year they were trying to get down the road, and she was far enough along in her pregnancy. She was sick by the time they got to our house, literally. You feel embarrassed. You feel, I'm so sorry, but what can we do? And it's saddening that you can't get your family to get together at your home anymore. We are, as I said, very strongly in support of this, and will do whatever we can do to help this along. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Jen Heldreth.
Jen Heldreth, 601 Broadglen. I'm pleased about the ordinance before the council tonight, agenda item 7.3. For years, residents have dealt with nonsense and self-interest policies and self-interested politicians, while our community's residents deal with very real problems like roads. I'm heartened that this new council is considering this ordinance that has a very real impact on the city's residents that can literally be life and death when it comes to ambulance and fire response times. I listened to the budget workshop online. I heard Councilman Powers specifically say, and I quote, regarding fire and emergency services, and I quote, I'm looking at response times. Response time is everything, end quote. Our school bus service removed our opportunity for service due to road concerns this year, offering kindergartners the opportunity to stand on Highway 205 where the speed limit ranges from 55 to 60 miles per hour. So dangerous. A house down the road listed at about $580,000, sat on the market for nearly a year due to our roads, and sold for over $200,000 less than it was originally listed by a suggestion by a realtor. This is affecting the value of McLendon-Chisholm properties. And even Rockwall CAD, when we were protesting our taxes, was concerned about our roads at our last meeting. And they were making a consideration to possibly devaluing the homes in our community. That affects our city too, because it affects our taxpayer dollars. Additionally, one more point. As I know there's been a lot of dissent in the past on the city taking over our private road, I just want to bring this to attention. Our city just dealt with a sewage pipe breakage, one that I'm very glad was handled well. Our community was here before sewers were ever utilized in this community. Our residents are now going to possibly be cost sharing the fund for something that was not a problem before our community, but before the Sonoma Verde community was built. But we've never had the benefit, and but at the end of the day, it's the right thing to do because public safety is paramount for residents of Sonoma Verde. But I have to ask, if the city and the developer of our community did not have codes for the creation of our road, and now there are codes that require roads to be cared for, obviously, how is this any different? Just in the reverse. And our communities pay taxes for longer than any of these other residents. It's the right thing to do because of public safety is paramount. Thank you for considering this ordinance, and we hope that all council members vote yes for it. You will have then already in this council's very short time relieved residents of a big situation with the water, and as well as given a possible opportunity for road solutions. The two biggest issues in our city. This is amazing, and we're very excited for our current council to have positive change for its tax-paying residents who've been largely ignored by previous councils. Thank you.
Thank you. Shelley Bennett.
My name is Shelley Bennett. I live at 421 Briar Glen, and I want to thank you so much for your consideration of 7.3. We are definitely in favor, and thank you again for considering it.
Thank you. Next up is Barry Bennett.
Ditto seems inappropriate. So I'm Barry Bennett, live at 421 Briar Glen. I just want to let you know that I'm very in favor of item 7.3. Thank you very much for your support.
Lori Casillas.
Hello, I'm Lori Casillas, and I live at 440 Briar Glen. My family has enjoyed the last 29 years in this kind of really special community that we have there in the neighborhood. It originally was a cotton farm, and they sold it off like that because until lately you could see the cotton burns go down. So when they put this together, they did not suspect that the costs, the years, and everything go on. And now we need y'all's help to go ahead and keep our community the way it is and to keep it improved, keep it safe for everyone. So, again, just help us out, and we want to help out too. And that's the, provision ahead of y'all. Again, thank you for your consideration, and we're so excited about this. You don't even begin to realize. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Tom Milner.
Tom Milner, 641 Glen Acres Drive. I'd like to tell the mayor and city council that I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you about this. Agenda item 7.3 has been a long time coming. It's not just going to benefit Glen Acres, it's going to benefit every other older subdivision that's in dire straits with financing their road construction. Because the price of this kind of work is out of reach for the residents, basically. And we found in trying to get financing that they just will not loan an older HOA the kind of money that you need to do it right. And for agenda item 7.3, it's very well thought out. A lot of time and a lot of effort has been put into it. I've read it numerous times. I'm proud of what you guys have put together. I have a few statements from some neighbors that unfortunately couldn't be here. One is Susan Moore. She wanted to say to dear Mayor McNeil and all McLendon-Chisholm City Council members, thank you very much for your consideration of passing agenda item 7.3, allowing for the possibility of the streets in my neighborhood of Glen Acres to become public streets. For the last year and a half, I've been unable to drive due to a medical issue, and I'm dependent on family, friends, and medical personnel and delivery personnel coming to my home. Some people simply refuse to drive on these roads. The ones who do complain a lot. She says, I've lived in this beautiful little neighborhood for almost 44 years. I would love to live out the rest of my days here. Please vote for agenda item 7.3. I also have a message from Christine Tate. She's at 729 Meadow Drive. She says, I am a resident and would like for you to read my comment during the citizens' comments. I am in support of the ordinance in agenda item 7.3 regarding roads, and I hope the council passes it. I'm a nurse and work a late shift, and I'm unable to attend. Then I have one from Danny Kirby at 640 Glen Acres Drive. And he writes, we would like to thank the city of McLendon-Chisholm and the city council members, mayor, and all involved with this process and the opportunity to provide assistance with repairs of bad roads in the city. EMS, first responders, police, and fire response is delayed at best. He's in support of agenda item 7.3. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. And before I call the next person up, just so y'all know, we did get emails, and we have our city manager, Beth Stevens, has entered those into record. Troy Reich, former state rep Justin Holland, Lucinda Rogers, Bob Norwood, Christopher Johnson, and Christine Tate. And all those were received by our city manager and entered into record, if I'm not mistaken. So just so y'all know, y'all had others that entered in for you guys. Next up, Linda Gordon.
Good evening. I'm Linda Gordon. I live at 811 Meadow Drive in McLendon. I want to thank all you guys for your willingness to serve on the council. I know that's not an easy task. And I am in support of 7.3. I broke my arm about 8 weeks ago, and the hardest part of my day was getting to and from work with a broken arm while my husband tried to drive me down the road with a big stuffed cow in the seat next to me to keep it from bouncing so much that I didn't cry the whole way down the road. This road is absolutely horrible. My family won't come and visit, so I really, really am excited that you are considering this proposal. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Tim Snyder, is that correct? Okay.
Tim Snyder, 200 Briar Glen. I am probably the new guy on the block. I just bought about 8 months ago. But in that short time, have realized that the road is really bad. And certainly don't have the experience that y'all have on it or the experience of going through this process, but have met a few in the neighborhood, great people. I truly believe that they all have a very good intent with this, and we hope that you guys do the same. So just wanted to voice my support for 7.3.
Thank you, and welcome to McLendon-Chisholm. Next up is Frank Mullins.
Hello, my name is Frank Mullins. I live at 201 Briar Glen on this same area that everybody's talking about. My wife wanted me to tell you guys that she's for this also, the 7.1. So I did. Happy wife, happy life. I know one thing that you guys have to consider when you're looking at this is the road in such bad shape that it is affecting city services and emergency services? 9 years ago, I had a massive heart attack. My heart surgeon said, "Welcome back. You almost didn't make it." If it happened today, I don't know if I would have. Because that road would have added 10 minutes. They operated on me as soon as I got to the hospital. I don't know if I'd have made it today. I only live 4 doors down, and it takes me 5 minutes to get to 205 because I don't want to tear my car up. That's all I got to say.
Frank, I'm glad you're still here. And also, you bought yourself another year of marriage since you publicly said you're happy with your wife. Paula McSwing.
Paula McSwain, and I live at 714 Meadow Drive in Glen Acres. And I've actually had the experience of being driven in an ambulance on our road before, and when you're not feeling well at all and you have to go down that road, it just compounds the issue. The mailman's spoken to me numerous times. He's had to have his vehicle repaired repeatedly from the damage it's done while he's delivering the mail. I'm sure as council members, you've all had an opportunity to see the condition of various private roads in McLendon-Chisholm and are aware of how important it is for us to pass 7.3 and get the roads up to standard before it costs someone their life. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jackie Dama.
Hi, I'm Jackie Damon, and I don't blame the pronunciation, I blame my handwriting. We live at 730 Meadow Drive. We've been there for over 25 years. And everybody's really said everything already, but what I want to add to it is my husband and I are both retired. We're in good health now, although when he had a seizure several years ago, they got to him really, really quickly, which of course they could not do today. But we want to be able to age in place where we are right now. We love it there. And as the road goes on and gets worse and worse, we'll get less and less services, the things that we need to age in place. So I want to say that I and my husband are in favor of 7.3.
Thank you. Next up is Brian Heldreth.
Hi, I'm Brian Heldreth. I'm at 601 Briar Glen. I am in favor of 7.3. Thank y'all.
Man, you took longer than your wife did. Yogi Galagos. If I said that wrong, I try to run all the names by the mayor pro tem, so blame him.
It's a lifelong issue. Yogi Gallegos, I live at 331 Briar Glen. I'm fairly new to the community as well. Mayor McNeil, council members, thank you so much for your efforts and your service. And I'm in support of item 7.3.
Thank you, sir. Jose Romero.
Hi, I'm Hector Romero. I'm speaking on behalf of my father. He's the homeowner at 110 Briar Glen and 861 Meadow Drive, and we strongly support this. Thank you.
So just for clarification, both of these are you then? Are you want to speak also, sir? Okay, okay. Thank you. Salomon Carr.
Good evening, members of council. My name is Solomon Carr. I live on 611 Meadow Drive. And I'm here today to support on the ordinance code 7.3 and respectfully ask for your support on fixing the road conditions on our streets. Over the past years, the road has become increasingly unsafe, that it became a hazard. We've seen damages on our vehicles, on our personal vehicles, and it's getting difficult for emergency vehicles, law enforcement, school buses, delivery trucks. We understand that the city has many priorities, but we believe that this issue affects our well-being for our communities, and we simply ask for your help to make our neighborhood safer and more accessible. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Next up is Mariah Meads, and then it also has Skylar Finley on it as well. Are you going to speak for both? Okay.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Skylar Finley. We live at 651 Meadow Drive. We've been there for 2 years, and as everybody stated already, there's problems with the road. We just want to say we are in support of 7.3 and appreciate y'all's time. Thank you.
Thank you. And last up will be Sherry London.
So Sherry London, and I don't live on that road, but I wanted to put in a word for why I think it makes sense for my neighborhood, Austin Corners. We are a 20-plus-year-old neighborhood of about 45 homes. It's hard enough to get people to serve on our HOA board. I know I've been stuck as secretary-treasurer for many years now. And it's also hard, even though we can raise our dues 10% by law without going to our members. Even if we did that year after year after year, we wouldn't have the money for the reserves to do what we need to do to maintain the roads. I think they're still in good condition, but the fact of the matter is, the 45 of us don't have the procurement and construction expertise that a city staff would have to actually get the job done that needs to be done. And as a member of that HOA for as many years as I've lived here in the last 7 years, we've had trouble getting contractors to come out and even do an assessment of our roads because it's too small a job. So the struggle is real for us small homeowners. I think the ordinance is well thought out and well crafted. I think it makes sense for the city to take care of the streets. I mean, it's one of the very basic things a city should do: public safety and roads. And roads contribute to public safety, as we've all heard tonight. So I think this ordinance is well thought out because it does look to make it equitable to bring the roads up to standards before this, paid for by the residents of the community before the city takes it over. I think it's been well thought out. I'm in support, even though I don't live on Meadow Glen. I think this makes sense for all of us older subdivisions. The city already asks new subdivisions to come to our standards, and then the city will take them over. And this is just giving us older subdivisions that same opportunity. And I appreciate the forethought of the council in bringing this up for the people. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who wants to speak on the 5.1 public hearing? Mr. Kiplett.
Mark Kiplett, 31 Fireside. So a couple of years ago, I was one of the unpopular people who suggested this kind of action. I'm just going to remind the council that the ordinance is going to be the easy part. The hard part is going to be the fiscal reality that's going to be behind it. So at 9 cents per 100 valuation, I hope you're ready to man up and really make the case to the public, because it's not going to, you're not going to be able to do this ordinance at 9 cents per 100 without some significant bonds would be the other alternative. And, that will have its own ramifications. Most of y'all, and in fact, I don't think any of y'all were here when we had, in 2006, when we had a tax rollback, when a city council attempted to set up a futuristic budget to start addressing these long-term contingency items, and was overwhelmingly turned back by the citizens. So it's cautionary note. Not saying it's impossible to get a tax raise done, but we need to do that. We need to set up appropriate funding that goes into bins that prevents future city councils from diverting funds intended for roads out to other areas. Because, let's face it, the private roads are an issue. Our existing city streets, Edwards, Connie Lane, Smith, I can go on, already need work now and are not properly maintained. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else on the public hearing? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry. Bethany Sasson. I'm at 921 Meadow Drive. I just want to say thank you for actually considering to help us with our road. We've been there for 4 years, and it has just gradually gotten worse and worse. And it's just, we're not capable to do anything to fix it. So we just thank you for even considering it.
Thank you. All right, with that, I will let y'all give a round of applause, and then I'm going to close the public hearing. Angela, 5.2.
Conduct a public hearing to receive public comments on consideration of a specific use permit for a private school as outlined in the zoning ordinance. This property is located at 1271 Highway 205, McLendon-Chisholm, Texas.
Okay, it's 7:20, and we will open up the public hearing for item 5.2. Okay, if nobody wants to speak on 5.2, we will close the public hearing at the same time, 7:20. It's going to bring us up to the consent agenda. If anyone has anything they would like to pull, please make that notification now. If not, I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 And that will be unanimous. Is 7.1, that has been removed? 7.1 has been removed? Okay, so with 7.1 being removed, I am going to move item 7.10 up next, which is going to be the presentation of the mayor and council's 100-day plan, and I think that's important to do before we go into 7.2 and certainly 7.3. So I will start the 7.10. So Nick Sabian gave a famous speech, and I feel it applies here for us, this council at this moment. It's why a 100-day plan, vision, or guide is crucial. It shows that we hear the asks of the people, and more so shows that we want to work towards those asks. Will we accomplish all these things in 100 days? Most likely not. The goal here is to get things in place that will be impactful to progress the city to where it needs to be. We recently had a budget workshop where the goal is to put out a wish list of things so that we can see what could happen. It's kind of like a Christmas list, but it doesn't mean you're going to get everything you ask for. So please know this. Don't listen to someone who doesn't know what is going on. There's a difference to those that think they know and then actually know. At the workshop, we had in my mind what I call high achievers in attendance. We had men and women that want to get things done. In sitting with most of the council and hearing the ideals they have for the city, it is clear the direction is to focus on making the city the best we can for you. But just like anything, we also have mediocre people. And so I will reference this speech by Nick Sabian. Mediocre people don't like high achievers, and high achievers don't like mediocre people. So if everybody doesn't buy into the same principles and values of the organization with the same high standards, you are never going to be successful. Coach Saban then goes on to talk about his team by saying, just like our spring practice right now, you know what my goal at spring practice is? Get the right guys on the bus. Get them in the right seats and get the wrong guys off the bus. So one of these days you're going to be working in an organization and somebody is going to try to do that to you. So which one of those people do you want to be? Do you want to be somebody that they're trying to get off the bus because you are satisfied with mediocre performance? Because you can never have any team chemistry in your organization if everybody is not committed to the same standards and the same things. Same thing applies in high achievers and mediocre people that are working for you. Some will be at meetings to make sure that they have input and understand all the asks and needs, and some are going to miss them. Some will look to sit down and discuss items of importance, and some will choose to abstain from those meetings. Sometimes you just have the wrong guys on the bus. The good news is there are more high achievers on the bus and are ready to go to work to serve you and make sure that you are in a good place and how you see the city that you choose to call home. So with that, I'm going to start with Councilmember Powers on his part of the 100-day vision.
Good evening, everybody. I've been asked to talk about fire, EMS, law enforcement, and disaster preparedness, and that's all under the umbrella of public safety. My personal top priority is public safety, and that's among many other top priorities. We're talking about a top priority tonight regarding roads, and they are related for reasons that people gave. But if your house is on fire, or your child's having a life-threatening emergency, or somebody's breaking into your home, what's your top priority then? Your top priority becomes public safety. And so that is something that's near and dear to my heart. Being a retired firefighter and having been a reserve police officer in the past. I think we all want the best public safety that we can afford, but the pie is only so big, as was referenced earlier this evening. The pie's only so big right now. There's only so much we can do, so much to go around. But our pie will get bigger as we grow. And in my humble opinion, there will be a need in the future if we want to accomplish all the things that we have on our various agendas. We're going to need more resources to accomplish that. If we want the best is going to be more expensive. And ultimately, it's going to be, we are all your fellow citizens. We are you. And we're not separate from you. We're you. And it's going to really come down to all of us deciding what kind of community we want to have and what we're willing to put into the pot in order to have those things. Just in case some people don't know the players that are involved in public safety in McLendon-Chisholm, as the McLendon-Chisholm Fire Department, which is also part of Fire District 22. And Fire District 22, in case you didn't know that, is twice the size, roughly, of the city of McLendon-Chisholm. So there's lots of people living in Fire District 22 that do not live in the city of McLendon-Chisholm. But the citizens of McLendon-Chisholm are paying most of the bill for that. It needs to be rectified somehow, some way. Everybody in Fire District 22 needs to be paying a fair share of what it costs. This is my opinion. The staffing right now for the fire department is, we had a fire chief, we have a fire marshal / assistant fire / master of all trades. And on duty every day, there's four people full-time on duty, one part-timer. So that's what you have to provide fire and EMS to the community. And I think they're doing a lot. I've had a lot of meetings with the chief and with the folks across the street. They're doing a lot with the resources that they have. But as I said, there are some improvements that need to be made. And one of those improvements is the long response times. To the far end of Fire District 22 is about a 13-minute response time from here. In a life-threatening emergency, you want to do the best you can to get somebody there within 5 minutes. That's the goal. So we're a long way from that. So we're going to have to be looking as we grow, adding more fire stations. We have Rockwall County EMS. Those are the ones that currently provide you with your paramedic service and ambulance service. The guys across the street most of them, or a good portion of them, are trained as paramedics. But under the current system, they're not allowed to use all of their skills. So they can show up at your house, but they're limited as to what they can do. And we have to wait for the ambulance to show up to get your full paramedic service. We got the Emergency Services Corporation. They manage the EMS in our county. They provide oversight, and they set and enforce standards of care, including response times. And they also provide something very important to all of us, which is a countywide emergency management program. So high wind events and so forth. And the board members are elected officials from county and city. Lastly, the last player is law enforcement. And we currently are served by Rockwall County Sheriff's Department in McLendon-Chisholm. We don't have a dedicated deputy to our city. They primarily respond to 911 calls, and they do some patrol and some enforcement activities. And then we have, of course, state police that patrol the highways. We're growing fast. We're going to be doubling our population in the next 5 years. We'll be double what we are now, just based on what the developments we have going on right now. We're too small for our own police department, I believe. It's my humble opinion. We'll probably still be too small for our own police department in 5 years, but we'll be getting close to it, to needing that. But we are at the point, I believe, where we need to have more dedicated policing services in our city today, and especially as we grow. So, 100-day plan. You're really looking at we're really looking at a 1-year plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan, looking to the future for these kind of things. But in the next 100 days, what I would like to see is that we hear a proposal from Fire Chief Simmons and the staff of McLendon-Chisholm Fire Department on establishing our own paramedic ambulance service. So we would be supplying the paramedic ambulance service to this community. I also think it would be important for us to meet with Rockwall EMS and owner Mitch Ownby to hear his case for remaining with them, to do our due diligence, to consider all options before we proceed. I'd also like to request from the city manager that the fire department be asked if they would like to start a disaster preparedness program for the citizens of McLendon-Chisholm and Fire District 22. They would have their own website, or they would combine their website with the city, link it to the cities, and they would provide information, resources, and training by on-duty firefighters, maybe once a month, and teach people things like first aid, how to properly turn on, disconnect, and reconnect your utilities, how to properly use a generator in an emergency, things like that, how to properly use a fire extinguisher. So, and it'd be an opportunity for them to be involved with the community and get everybody dialed in on being prepared for emergencies. Next, I would like to continue the preliminary conceptual talks with Rockwall County Sheriff's Department regarding having a dedicated deputy in our city every day. We're currently talking about that. I want to continue that, and I'm very interested to see how that will turn out. And lastly, when we do get dedicated sheriffs in town, I want to have magnets made that go on the patrol cars to say, serving the city of McLendon-Chisholm. So that's what I'd like to see in the next 100 days.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Goodwin.
Wow. This was 3 items 2 weeks ago at the budget workshop. This is now 4. So I've probably got a new one. I think the biggest thing that I walked out of a couple Saturdays ago is we're in a sinking ship. I'm watching a train wreck in slow motion. Our city is behind on taxes. Where we are going, we cannot sustain. The things we want, the population, the homes, this tax rate will not do it. I know that. I do not know how bad the damage is. I have a full-time job doing other finances, but in my spare time I've been crunching these numbers and I have not gotten to the bottom of it yet. I did meet with Jeff this week and I got a little closer, but I'm very concerned about the finances of this city. So that's kind of where we are now with the finances. I think I would like to assess the damage, figure out where we are, and then start to put together a plan on righting the ship for the growth that we have coming. So on the finance piece, that's kind of top of mind for me. That's what I'm going to be probably 8+ years. So that needs to be updated. The next piece I would like to work on is getting Parks and Trails Board going. And this is mostly for planning. Parks and Trails are a little bit bigger than just some parks thrown here and there in development. I believe the trails should work with the Rockwall Open Space Alliance So I think we're putting that on tonight as far as the Parks and Trails Board. Would like to see that together in the 100 days. And the next piece would be a developer's agreement. If we were to step outside the comp plan, which the initial numbers on finances, I don't think we should moving forward. But if we were, I think it would be good that we have a boilerplate document that gives us a place to start with developers if we were to step outside of the boilerplate. So on the 100 days, with finances, I want to do a damage assessment and plan to right the ship. The investment policy, I want to see it updated. And Parks and Trails Board being formed and the developer agreement being done.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Dean.
So I'm kind of new here, and when I've always had like a 100-day plan in my head as far as if I was on city council, this is what I would be concentrating on, and here I have a chance to tell you. So I had three things on my 100-day plan. One is the roads, and that is, hold your applause till the end. With our last election, the people voted for roads and needed improvements. I think a priority list, now that we've got money funneled into roads, I think a priority list with expenditures would be a great document to be able to set expectations for the citizens. So it's going to take a while. I have here Rome wasn't built in a day, and it's going to take a lot longer to fix the roads at McLendon-Chisholm. So that would be one thing I'd want in a 100-day plan. What roads are we going to concentrate on first? Where are we going to get our best bang for the buck? Second is RCH, essentially water. And in this case, I had conversations with previous council members, and what my message to them was to stay out of the way. And I think in the 100 days, current city council has already started really good talks with RCH, and I think over the next 100 days is going to be critical to enable RCH. We're so close to having sizable increases in water. I just don't want to get in the way of that. And then I certainly would be open to figuring out from there what our strategic plan is for water at McLendon-Chisholm. There's a lot that goes into that plan, though. Last is development. I put development on a list for the next 100 days for two reasons. One is I think we, as a city council, need to acquaint ourselves with not only what's out there, what developments are coming, but what we can do as a city council and be ready for what is to come. It's not a snap decision. We're kind of prepared, ready for it. How can we work together with our neighbors, neighboring cities, Rockwall County, to show a united front to the developers coming into our area? And the second part is really kind of heading it off from a legislature standpoint. I think we made great strides this past year going down to Austin and talking to people. I think that needs to continue, and it needs to happen prior to the next session. It needs to start. So not just during it. That's a great start for what we were doing, but I think there's a lot going on during that time off as far as making sure that we get past what we want passed to maintain the lifestyle of McLendon-Chisholm. And the last thing, I did sit in on my first budget meeting this last weekend, and we do have a lot to do over the next 100 days, and that's going to be part of the values that we have for priorities in McLendon-Chisholm, and it's all going to take place over the next 100 days. So that's my list.
Mr. Easter.
Yeah, thank you. I support what everyone's doing on this. I've been very concerned about talking with everybody outside of this council for concerns about Toma, so I have not participated on any of this, so I have nothing more to say.
So he was concerned about Toma, but what we did is we spoke with our city attorney on this, and it was fine for me to meet with everybody as long as I don't tell what everybody's talking about. Mr. Easter did have the same invitation. Mr. Towery.
And Mr. Hawley has not been correct at all times, so I was just being unduly cautious, just to be clear.
And Mr. Easter called me and asked me about it, and I told him the same thing that I told you. So everybody got the same information, which was correct.
So I want to talk, funny enough, about communication a little bit. Before this, I think a big reason why a lot of us ran and a lot of issues that we had was we felt like we weren't being heard. I know that was said a lot. I think it's very important that there is a communication line between the people working in the city, staff, everybody, and the citizens. Our job isn't to make decisions in a vacuum. It's to listen, to represent, and to serve. Somewhere along the way, the connection between council and the community was lost. I understand that trust doesn't come just because we're elected, especially having not had an opponent. It has to be earned. So that's going to be my focus, and I know all of our focus, to rebuild communication, trust, and service. That means more transparency, more accessibility, more respect for your voice. And it also means this: you don't have to go straight to the mayor anymore to feel heard. You can come to us, email me, call me, talk to me. If you find me, at the gas stations, pull me aside, talk to me about your concerns. We're here to listen. And you will be heard. We are all accountable to you, and we are all here to serve. We're not here to speak over you. We're here to stand with you. I believe this council is committed to a new direction, and one rooted in accountability, responsiveness, and real public service. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I do want to talk about my 100-day plan. My background is construction. It's not politics. It's not, anything to do with city budget. I'm very familiar with small business budgets. So the budget workshop was an eye-opener for me. A big thing that I had an issue with that I want to look forward to figuring out is how do we get a heavy portion of our budget is depending on development money. So every year we plan on a certain portion of our budget to be coming in from developer, from permitting, from you name it. That's a scary situation for me. Something that I've seen other cities have to make some terrible decisions okaying development that they probably usually wouldn't have if their budget was in a better position. So that's something that I want to look forward. How do we wean ourselves off of depending so much on developer money? We do have commercial coming in, which is going to be a great help. But as I learn the budget and learn the things, that is something that that caught my eye that I want to look at. Another big thing is EMS. I was a paramedic for a long time, and I think anybody in first responder will tell you if you're dealing with certain things such as heart attack, stroke, etc., every minute counts. So while we were talking about issues with roads getting down there, could you imagine have a paramedic next to your husband who's having a heart attack, and he says, I can't do the things that I know and was trained to do. I can't do them until the ambulance arrives. That's an issue with me. We are way too an affluent city. Rockwall County shouldn't be in this position. It was mind-blowing to find out the situation they're in, and that's something that I want to get down to and see what are our real options. A big thing is growth of a city is going to cost money. I think the big thing for us is instead of our money being wasted on lawsuits and this, that, and the other, I want to see it go into a better EMS service. Do we have a better police force? Do we have roads that we can drive on that we're proud of? It's insane to have a house value of over $500,000 and you got to have a 4x4 to get to your house. That's not okay. That's not okay. And so that brings me to my last thing, roads. I want to find out what our true finance options are. I think Mr. Kippett brings a real point. Roads are one of the most expensive construction there is. It's a big reason why I don't think HOAs should be involved in running and operating roads, because there is going to come a day that you can't keep up. It's a city business, and I really want to dig in and find what are our true options here to make this happen. I know there's an answer out there, and I think we have a lot of smart people in the city that are access to help us try to figure that out. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Towery. And I actually want to second that. If you do have any complaints, the other council members will take those calls now. And my favorite, Mayor Pro Tem, you're up, sir.
First, I'm going to say I completely agree with some of the points made regarding roads and public safety. And as we go through this budget process, there's going to be some challenges there to address everything we want to do. But I'm confident in this group working it out and coming up with a plan that is the best we can provide for you for the coming year. So I just want to let y'all know I'm very confident with y'all. So I decided to talk about something that's not quite as controversial. I want to talk about relations with RCH. And it's more about the vision than it is the step-by-step plan, because there's a lot of moving parts there. Nothing has consumed more oxygen, money, and time than our relationship with RCH. Past attempts to take over RCH or dictate how and from whom they are to get more water has not worked. It's time for an approach that seeks a mutually beneficial partnership. RCH is one of 3 water companies in our city. RCH serves most of our citizens. The city is not in a position to become a water provider. Therefore, if there's something that the city can do to help RCH and ultimately benefit our citizens, we should do it. The city should not be standing in the way of our citizens getting more water. The city's role should be collaborative instead of confrontational. We should be at the table with RCH so we can together address the inevitable growth of our community and the challenges that come with that growth. The benefits of collaboration are many. There's a consistent public-facing partnership between the city and RCH that will build citizen confidence. Clear communication between us and RCH will reduce misunderstanding and lower the likelihood of a costly legal dispute. There can be proactive problem solving where issues can be addressed informally before escalating into a formal complaint or action. A strong working relationship facilitates quicker responses to service disruptions or infrastructure failures. There would be a better alignment between the city's growth plans and RCH's infrastructure development. The benefit of this is it gives confidence and certainty to our citizens, to businesses looking to come here, and even developers that our water needs will be met now and in the future. Healthy relationships solve problems and accomplish great things. So how do we achieve this? It starts with actions on the city's part to repeal those resolutions and actions that has us in the current litigious chapter of our relationship with RCH. This council has already rescinded past resolutions for the city to become a water provider, to assume assets of RCH, and rescind the termination of the contract to service Sonoma Verde. This led to a joint letter to the court that both sides now can work out a solution without having to go into a costly mediation process. There are more conversations to be had and details to be ironed out, certainly in the next 100 days. I believe this council and the RCH board are resolved to have a mutually beneficial relationship with clear lines of communication going forward that delivers the best and most reliable service for our community. And I will be doing everything I can to facilitate that. And I believe this council will too. Our taxpayers, who are also their members and ratepayers, deserve no less. So.
Well said. Thank you, sir. So the reason I wanted to do this tonight is because you are the government and you deserve to know how you're being heard. And that has not happened. And it's time that we, as your council and city staff, we take ownership of that, and we're here to serve you. There might have been a little bit of talk about roads tonight. And my focus has always been roads. When I ran my campaign for mayor, I can tell you, every door I knocked on, and Jerry probably walked with me at least 70% of the time when we door knocked, roads was number one. And it wasn't just Glen Acres. It was every neighborhood. Roads was number one. Number two was, sometimes it would be schools. If you were in Sonoma Verde, they wanted a school in Sonoma Verde, and sometimes you would get water, but water wasn't always number two. Sometimes it was number three. And the point that I make there is because people were already understanding that, as Mayor Pro Tem Brewer said, stay out of the way. Let RCH be RCH. And what you have now is a council that understands what it means to come to the table and talk to people. talk to the community. Mayor Pro Tem has been working on an ordinance, which many of you spoke on tonight, was 7.3. And he did his due diligence. He actually went out there and did work and made phone calls and figured stuff out and met with community members. So for me, my focus is roads. And I heard Mr. Kippett tonight, and I agree 100% with him. A hard decision is going to have to be made. So you have to ask yourself, we're saying we want roads, then you're going to have to know at some point, because I'm going to say it, because and some people will look at it as the political dagger, but there's going to be a bond that you're going to have to say, I want the roads, okay? And so when you are up here saying you want roads worked on, but then a bond comes, you see what I'm saying? We've got to work together. That's how you make this, because as Councilmember Goodwin pointed out, it is a train wreck. If you really want to sit down and look at a budget, the past, some people would say rooftops get you there. Rooftops actually create a gap, if I'm saying this correct, and if I don't, interject. You create a gap because while you may have more houses, you're also increasing more services, and you never catch up. So the past council that did not do the voter approval rate on the night they did the vote, put another dagger in that so they could save you all $2.50 a month. Horrible move. And they've done it before, and the rollbacks. And what's happened is this gap is created longer and longer. Now, Councilmember Goodwin, the reason I wanted him on council is because he has a financial brain. I call him Rain Man, because he can look at numbers and he can figure it out. And he's not saying it tonight, but he's already kind of working on what will be probably an 8-year plan to close a gap with the right commercial development. And I believe Councilmember Dean spoke on development, and he also is talking about commercial development. So there is a way to close this gap. But as I believe it was James Parnell pointed out, partnerships. If the city succeeds, the people succeed. And if the people succeed, the city succeeds. So I can tell you with this council, we're going to do everything we can to serve you, and we're going to have to make hard choices together. But I will still give you always transparency and honesty, and you'll never be surprised. But we are going to have to work together. We are going to put this 100-day vision to work. It doesn't mean we get everything done in 100 days, but we will make sure roads are going to start having plans, as you see with the item tonight and many other things. So we're here for you. As Councilmember Towery said, you can call any of these council members. You do not have to call just the mayor anymore. And that will close that item out. Thank you. Next up is item 7.2. Angela?
Mayor, could we take a quick break?
Absolutely.
Never mind, he's back.
Okay.
Well, we will take a break after 7.2, so don't worry. 7.2, Angela.
Discuss and consider approval of a specific use permit for a private school as outlined in the zoning ordinance. This property is located at 1271 Highway 205, McLendon-Chisholm, Texas 75032.
Good evening, Council. The applicant is requesting a recommendation for approval of the operation of a private school located at 1271 State Highway 205. City staff recommends approval of the applicant's request and all exhibits included in the staff report in front of you tonight.
Thank you, sir. Well, we'll go down the list first, since we kind of did it a little bit backwards. You have anything on this, Mr. Priester? No? Mr. Towery? Mayor Pro Tem?
I just wanted to, I'd asked about this offline before, about the, whether we had 2 hearings on this, because it says the whereas the city council had 2 hearings.
It says that in the ordinance?
says in the whereas part, whereas the City Council of the City of McLendon-Chisholm are at 2 public hearings called by the City Council.
We can change it. We had a planning and zoning public hearing, and we had one city council, so technically we had 2 city hearings, but they weren't both city council. We can amend the ordinance when you guys approve it.
Okay.
Good catch. Mr. Dean?
Nothing.
Mr. Goodwin?
I do have some questions. Are they here? Can we talk? Can I ask you some questions? I was kind of reading through the packet a little bit. Is it correct there's only going to be 24 students?
Well, we're trying to be very mindful of the traffic plan, and so we have had a lot of interest. Actually, upon launching our website, we had 30,000 views within the first 24 hours. So we have shifted our long-term plan, and this is our temporary facility, and we would love to remain in McLendon-Chisholm and grow here and find our permanent home. But in the meantime, we wanted to be sure that we were being mindful and able to do a staggered start time and a staggered dismissal time. That way we are not creating any issues for traffic flow on 205. So that was our reason for limiting it to 24. And then we will grow as we find our permanent facility, and just wanted to be mindful and make sure it was beneficial for the entire community.
Yeah, I think my only concern with it, and I think it's awesome I checked out your guys' website. I like what you guys are doing. I honestly think you're going to grow more than 24 students. And that's 205 is very busy there, and just the traffic concerns me. So if you guys are committing to the 24, I think you're probably going to have a waiting list, but if it's 24, I'm good with it. But.
Yes, we do expect to have a wait list, and we're okay with that because we want it to be the best solution for everyone. And I do feel that it will grow very rapidly once we're in our permanent facility. We just know that it's going to take time for us to find the perfect spot. We're already looking at land here, and we've really fallen in love with the city of McLendon-Chisholm and would like it to be our permanent home. So we're hoping that we will be able to grow here and stay here.
Thank you.
Mr. Powers?
Yes. For the benefit of everybody here and the thousands who are listening from home right now, enthralled with this, could you tell us just maybe 60 seconds, just the nature of your school, what it's all about, and what it's going to bring to the community?
Sure. We are former public school teachers. We've both been teaching for quite some time. I've been teaching for 13 years. And she's also been teaching for 13 years. And we decided to open a small private school so we could design our own curriculum. We could create hands-on learning experiences for children. We could make sure we were maximizing engagement so we could help our students reach their full potential and create small teacher-to-student ratios. That way we're not teaching 24 students at once, but we're limiting it to 12. That way we can provide the best education to those children. And we are both certified experienced teachers who earned a master's designation from TEA, which means we are in the top 5% of teachers in the state of Texas. And we're very passionate about education and want to make a difference.
And what age group are we looking at?
So we are going to start this first year with pre-K through 4th grade. And then we would like to add on 5th grade the following year, just so those students who have called us home for 4th grade are able to continue on with us, and we're committed to growing with that group each year. We really want to grow slowly, so we're not trading quality for quantity. We're hoping to, take it slow and hire people that we know share the same passion and drive and love for education. And so we're going to grow slowly with that group of kids, but we're going to stop at 4th grade this first year.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I say something real quick? When I was in 4th grade, I still remember my 4th grade teacher. And that's what kind of made me want to be a teacher. I still to this day can tell you everything about her, as what she smelled like, all the things. And she just made me just see the relationship that she had with us. I wanted that. And that's why I became a teacher. And so I found myself frustrated with the system, not Rockwall, not anything. It was just frustrated.
I loved teaching in Rockwell ISD. I loved the families. I loved all the things. But what I found was the relationships, I wasn't able to grow as easily because of the expectations and just the time and all the things. I remember laying in bed at night and thinking, you know, one of my students was trying to tell me a story about something, about a new dog or whatever, and I just didn't have the time. You know, I would tell her, like, wait till we get to recess, and you can tell me then. And I would come home to my husband, and he was like, well, then find something new. Let's see if there's something new. And I was like, I don't want anything new. I don't want to do anything different. And Brenda came to me, and she said, let's open a school. And I was like, no, can't do that. I went home to my husband, and he said, why not? Why wouldn't you? And I was like, you're right, why wouldn't I? So I feel like more than anything, this is going to open up a chance for my career to go back to the roots of just making learning fun again and building relationships and having these kids, just having the time for them. Because right now, let's be real, everything is just so micromanaged and it's hard to fit it all in. And so that was my goal. And so I just thank you guys for giving us the opportunity to hopefully bring this to your community. So appreciate it.
Mayor, can I add something to alleviate or allay Councilmember Goodwin's concerns? What we are allowed to do, or council is allowed to do with an SUP, you can attach conditions to the SUP, and one of them can be limiting the school, at least for right now, and then come back if they get bigger and want to do more, you can limit it to 24. You don't have to, but you can limit it to 24, and that would take care of your concern about that.
It was in the packet, so is that binding? It was already mentioned in the packet.
I don't remember. Was it actually part of was it part of the?
Yes, it is part of the exhibits. But
okay.
On the other side of the token, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Holla, if they were to grow hypothetically past that 24 maximum capacity, they could come back in front of the relevant boards to amend said SUP to increase it to.
And that's what I was saying. So yeah, I didn't know if it was.
They have already limited it at 24 maximum capacity by their submittal.
Well, I mean, I understand that, but I'm just saying you would have to add it to the ordinance if it wanted to be, you know, if all of a sudden they blew up. Not that you would, given worst case scenario, that's what we have to do. That's why nobody likes attorneys. But let's say they went to 68, okay? To enforce that, you'd have to have it in the ordinance that it's limited to 24, okay? I just throwing that out there to alleviate your concern.
We could also do on that same lines, like when we say we're not going to, if something costs us $37,000 in a bid, we just say no more than 50. So we could, I'm hearing the number 24, and I want to make sure I'm clear that y'all submitted 24. It's in the packet, but there could be slight adjustment of 1 or 2. So we could say no more than 30, gives you at least the 6 extra.
Oh, sure. Yeah, if you want to make that a condition.
I just don't want to, 24.
Oh, no. And I was just about the number that
same
was there.
thing. Yeah, I mean,
But
it's just.
Absolutely, you can limit it in the ordinance if you want to put that as one of the conditions. At no point will they have more than 30 students and they won't exceed the 4th grade.
Yeah, I say we at least give you some room, not 24.
Mayor, also understand there's other limiting factors here, fire code, ratio to teachers to students. There's other things that location is going to restrict them where they're not going to be able to put 60 students in there anyway.
Okay. So if you want to pass the ordinance, you just do it with the condition that there won't be more than 30 and not past the 4th grade or something like that.
Yeah, I say we just do something like that then.
Okay.
If that's how the vote goes, and I don't know if that needs to be amended in the ordinance and not in the motion.
If you do the motion, I make a motion to approve the SUP with the conditions of no more than 30 and not to exceed the 4th grade. The exquisite and wonderful and amazing and sensational Mr. Sherman and I can get together and amend that ordinance, and that's fine.
They're going to come back on that. It's 4th grade for now.
Right.
Is that correct?
Because my guess is if they go to the 5th grade with the students they have now, they might need more than 30. So I don't know. Yeah.
Well, and if we were to hire an additional teacher, right now we have our ratio set at 12 students to 1 teacher, so we would stay at 24. I think if, the growth is there and it's available and we were planning for the following year to hire another teacher, we had planned to come back to seek approval to do 36 just so we could continue that 12 to 1 ratio. We feel like that is the
Then I
best
say
for
just
children.
do it now. Just do the 36 now that's what I would say. I mean, save me or is that able to be done?
With the size of the building and the parking and the traffic issue, I think you need to stick with what they have originally asked for,
Is that right?
and then
Right,
ask them to come back at a different time.
All right, well then we'll go with staff recommendation. I have learned over my time never go against staff recommendation, so I will not start tonight. So there will be no needing to amend the deal. We'll stay at 24. So
You will need to add that as a condition.
it's at 24 now, right?
I don't know that it's in the ordinance, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
An ordinance
in the
in 24 and 4th grade. When they
It's in there.
Oh, it's in the
there.
ordinance?
So
In the ordinance? Yeah, right, and that's
so
what
we
I'm
need
saying.
to clean. We need to do it in our what he's saying is we do that in our motion.
Right, so you're able to revise it. They need to say, approve the ordinance with the 2 conditions of 24 and 4th grade.
All right, I'll entertain a motion. Make sure you do the amendment, please.
I make a motion that we amend it for 24 students and 4th grade. Pardon me? And approve it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay.
Thank you. We're very excited.
All right, so that unanimous. Thank you, ladies. At this time, it is 8:05. I am going to take us into executive session just for a few questions before we come out on 7.3. We will not be long. I do apologize. City Council of McLendon-Chisholm, Texas, reserves the right to convene into executive session at any time during the course of this meeting to discuss any matters listed as authorized by Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, and we will be in executive session at 8:05. Give us some time. It is 8:29. We are back from executive session, and I appreciate your patience. So item 7.3, Angela, I'll go ahead and handle it. Discuss and consider an ordinance. Do I need to read this? Even though I'm going to, okay. Discuss and consider an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 10, Subdivision Regulations, Article 3, Standard Specifications and Construction Details in Subdivisions by adding 10.03.010, allowing private streets to become public streets, providing certain conditions to be met, and said streets to be accepted by the city of McLendon-Chisholm. So what we're going to do is, as we are looking through this, there are forms that are already not attached to this. So we are going to table this to the first meeting in July. And it will be brought up to the vote then. You will not need to come back and speak again unless you just want to. But I'm going to entertain a motion to table this because it does not have the forms that are attached. And what that means is if this were to have passed tonight, assuming it would have passed tonight, if you came in tomorrow, you wouldn't even have a form to fill out. So if I'm saying that correct, so I will entertain a motion to table this to the first meeting in July, which I believe is July 8th. It will be back on, and it will be action will be taken on July 8th. I'll entertain that motion.
I'll make a motion that we table this until the next meeting in July.
Second. Make sure you say July 8th.
Oh, to make a motion to table it until July 8th.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
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 Aye. All right. Show that unanimous, and it will be back on the agenda on July 8th. And we do appreciate everybody speaking tonight. Angela, that brings up 7.4, please.
Discuss and consider approving new appointments to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
I'll entertain a motion on item 7.4.
I move that we discuss and consider approving new appointments to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. City Manager.
Mayor and Council, we have received 2 additional candidates for the Planning and Zoning Commission. They are Tommy Baugh and Anthony Crawford. I would suggest putting them in the 2 full-time seats that we have on Planning and Zoning, leaving us 2 alternate openings.
And I'm understanding that we have had other alternate applications turned in for the 2 alternate positions. Have we gotten any?
No, we have 1 additional application that has applied for both P&Z and Board of Adjustments. We have not acted on it yet.
Okay.
Because I'll just be honest, that person also applied for the city manager job.
Coming and taking it overall. It's awesome. All right. We've had the motion in the second. I'm good with it all unless y'all have any questions up here on the council. I mean, everyone should know these individuals for the most part. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. So that one unanimous?
Aye.
Oh,
Now it's unanimous.
Are we set up for the touch vote? Okay, so we're going to go back to the touch vote. Make it a lot easier. So on 7.5, when we finish it, we'll go to the touch vote. 7.5, Angela.
Discuss and consider directing staff on Infomart delinquent accounts.
Okay, this one, there's no motion on this one because we're just doing a discuss and consider on the direction. So there will actually not even be a vote on 7.5. So.
If you want to direct staff, you should vote on directing staff, correct? Because it should be a majority of council.
Okay, well, there you go. City Manager.
In our budget workshop, we discussed the delinquent accounts for Infomark, which is sewer and trash. So some of the accounts are combined sewer and trash, some are trash only. In the last report we received from Infomark, there are 125 accounts totaling almost $92,000. So we would like direction from council on the next steps on this. Infomark has a collection agency process that they can go to, or we can handle this ourselves. So that is the direction that we are asking for from council.
Okay. Mr. Easter, do you have any questions on this?
Yeah, actually I do on the collection agency. Is there a fee associated with that? So for example, if it was $100,000 and they were successful in collecting all of it, would they be entitled to a portion of that?
They would not be entitled to a portion of the $92,000, but there would be additional charges put on each account for the collection fee.
And do we have any idea what what those costs might be?
I do not, but I can find out.
30% is pretty standard.
Okay, that's
Almost
kind of what I was
across the
looking
board.
for, just ballpark. Is it going to be cheaper for them to do it or us to do it? And that's the...
Yeah, it's going to be cheaper for them because I don't think we're fully
Exactly.
equipped. And, yeah, so I mean, as amazing as our staff is, I mean, I'm not sure we can handle that.
And so if it's 30%, let's just call it 92, they're 100% successful, we're just looking at $60K.
No, we would get the full
amount.
We would
then
get the full 92. There would be an additional 30 put on top of it that the people would have to pay.
We're going to add the 30% to their bill, so we're not out our money. Correct. Okay. Mr. Towery?
I think somebody said that we, and let me know if this is an option, because we were talking about a step process. I'm assuming they've been notified in different manners, but after the notification, is it true that we have a working deal with RCH that could cut water in the event that they do not reply to us in any case?
There is a clause in the agreement that was reaccepted and put back in place. I honestly cannot tell you if anybody has ever approached RCH about activating that clause, but it is an option. Jeff and I had the opportunity to meet with Infomark today on the sewer break. So while we had them, we did talk about steps to do on this, and they pretty much said if we're able to shut the water off, the bill is typically paid the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So if on the sewer ones we can enact that, it would be great. But I personally have not had the conversation with RCH to see if they're willing, because keep in mind that agreement comes from the old RCH board. Okay. So I don't know that Mr. Naylor and the new board are even aware that that is in there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if there's no response and there's no effort to have a discussion, I would assume if it's a financial issue for somebody that they'd be more willing to talk about it, and at that point we would be able to help them. But if there's no attempt to right the issue, I mean, with anything else, if you don't pay your service, you get it cut off. So if this is our ability to get them to pay without going to a credit issue, whatever, I would like to see that. And then, obviously, if there's an issue, we can go to credit.
Just so I'm clear, are you thinking that if we as a city generate a letter, or are we even allowed to do that? Can the city generate a letter, or does that still need to stay with Infomark, asking Infomark to send out one more request? Is that what you're asking? Maybe
yeah, I would like to see one attempt. I don't know if that changes now that we're doing the billing, but...
So we're not doing that at this. That's probably a year down the road.
Oh,
but,
sorry.
Okay. Couple things to note, if you don't mind. We pay every month for every delinquent letter that we send to one of our residents that is not paying their bill. So it costs us $15 plus postage every month. So we literally pay sometimes several $1,000s a month to send out delinquent notices. So it is in our contract with RCH, as we've discussed. So again, it's in the contract. Like Ms. Stibbins said, they may or may not even know, because the current board was not around when that was put into place. But the comment made by Infomark today was if you shut off the water, you're normally paid by the end of the day. And Infomark's policy with their delinquent stuff is that if someone's made an effort to get on a payment plan, as you mentioned, making an effort to get caught up, that they stop charging them late fees. It's the people that don't pay at all. We have people that have never paid one payment since they set up their service.
Yeah, I think a typical 3 delinquent notices, 3 strike, and then but I guess we got to figure that out with RCH.
And that one of the things that would need to be discussed if we were to move forward with any sort of plan like this is at what point in arrears do we make those decisions? So, because we would obviously want to make sure that we're very clear so that everyone was aware.
Mr. Brewer?
Yeah, I just think, I do think we have to set up a policy about what dollar amount would trigger. I mean, if somebody's several $1,000s in, I think that should just go straight to the credit folks, in my opinion. If we're talking a couple months. As far as working with, I think, we have to reach out to RCH and see what they're willing to do on that. It's in the contract. We can show it to them and have those mutually beneficial conversations. So.
And I think, if I may, it is not uncommon for a water company or a city to charge a disconnect fee and a reconnect fee. So if RCH wanted to charge a fee, which would be perfectly reasonable to go out and turn someone's water off, we could turn around and charge a reconnect fee to the residents to recoup that money so that we're not subsidizing that.
And the only thing that just crossed my mind, though, was I'm sure from RCH's standpoint, then they're being pinned as the bad guy for the bill, which isn't their bill. So, but it's in the contract, so I get that. But.
Mr. Ning?
So just so I'm clear, what have we done already to the delinquent people? We sent them letters?
They have been sent their bill every month with delinquent letters at a certain point.
Okay.
Some of these accounts are many months delinquent.
Okay. All right, yeah, I agree we need to have some leverage here and a time frame associated with it. But, yeah, all right, I'm good.
Mr. Goodwin?
I've heard what I need to hear.
Mr. Powers?
Just want to be clear, Infomark is the one that's doing our billing for us, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when people don't pay their bills to Infomark, Infomark charges us $15 for every letter that we send. Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, sir.
So if we say send a delinquent letter, it costs us $15.
Plus postage, yes, sir.
Yeah. Can I say that that's absurd?
Absolutely.
Would that be
I would agree with that. As the person that has to write the check, sign the check every month, I would agree with that.
Yes, that is absurd and unacceptable, and we need to remedy that as soon as we possibly can in regard to our other system we're looking at getting. I think there's room for compassion here, sometimes on a case-by-case basis. I think if people have gotten to the point where they can't pay their their trash and sewer bill, they literally can't pay it, they probably have bigger problems than that, right? So there may be some room for some compassion here and there, but as a general rule, I think we do fullest extent of the law, as much pressure as we can possibly put on people to pay their bills. Everybody else is paying their bills. They should pay their bills as well.
Mayor, so with this going forward, could we, how would we table this for an exact direction once we find out what RCH can or can't do, or how does it go from here?
I think what we're going to do is we're going to give direction tonight to staff, and staff can figure that out. Am I correct in that, Beth?
You can give us direction tonight to reach out to RCH to see if they are still willing to do this and how it would work as far as disconnect and reconnect fees. And then we can come back to y'all with that at the next meeting. And or you can just direct Infomark to go to collection on the accounts that are X months past due.
So my recommendation would be, with knowing that, I would recommend that we direct staff to get with RCH, button up whatever we need with Infomark. I'm going to try to alleviate not having to do another letter, realizing it's costing $15 plus postage. So let's, if y'all are good with that as a council, my recommendation would be let our city manager and financial director figure out what they need to do with Infomark, RCH, get a process, and let them bring it back to our July 8th meeting and give us a staff report of what they were able to find out. And then we take action on July 8th with the direction we wanted to go on the collection side. Okay. That's what I recommend. If everybody's good with that, anybody different on that? Okay. Well, Bev, it's our city manager, if you can put that into motion. She calls them marching orders. I'll just say put it in motion. I'm afraid to say that to her. 7.6, Angela.
Discuss and consider directing staff on the creation of a park board as per home rule charter.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion on this one as well, and this one's going to be identical to 7.5 in the wording. Did we go ahead.
The city charter, I can't even talk tonight. The city charter says the city council may appoint a park board that shall be composed of not more than 7 members, each of whom shall be a citizen of McLendon-Chisholm. The park board shall be charged with responsibility for oversight of all parks and the trail system within the city of McLendon-Chisholm. The park board may sponsor such other activities for the betterment of civic life within the city as it shall be deemed appropriate, and shall have such other duties and responsibilities as may be assigned to it by the city council. The park board may make recommendations to the city council for improvements to and expansions of existing parks and locations for future parks. So what I would suggest is that council direct staff to advertise for park board members, very similarly to what we do for Board of Adjustments in planning and zoning. It will be a separate application. It will go out on the website. It will go out on social media. And then if we get enough applications in by the first meeting in August, they would be presented to y'all to select the park board.
I'm good with that staff recommendation from the staff. If anyone else has anything to add, Mr. Goodwin. So, just so everyone knows, Mr. Goodwin has been asked by me to work with Commissioner Lichty in the Commissioner's Court on parks and trails and other stuff. So I do want to definitely make sure that he has a point in this for sure. But Mr. Powers.
I would just be wondering about budgeting. If we're going to have a park board that infers that we have parks or we're going to have parks, correct? And so that's an item that has not been budgeted for as far as I know. So if we get these good people on board, they're going to have a zero budget to start with.
Correct. And if I'm not mistaken, also the home rule charter said we may put one together. It didn't say we shall. So this is not something we have to do, but it was in the home rule charter, so it's up for us to discuss.
Right, and it's not, you don't have to do it, because as the mayor said, it says may, not shall. As the P&Z and Board of Adjustments are, you must. But also remember that this park board can come forward when there are new developments coming in to suggest to that developer that they put a park here and that they maintain the park. So while we typically think of a city having a large park and rec budget, that's not something we're going to have in the near future, unfortunately, but we can still have the park board to work with future developments and or even current developments. I mean, our development had a lot that was never going to sell because of the shape, and we went to the developer and said, donate it to us and we'll put in a park. The HOA did it, so.
That would be, that would be my main concern, is that we get, it's hard enough to get volunteers, and we're going to solicit now 7 more people from the community. I want them to be not only excited about what their job's going to be, but actually be able to do something rather than be hamstrung. So I like that idea. So thank you.
Mr. Goodman.
Like Bev was saying, there's a lot they're going to be able to do with developers, and yes, ultimately down the road it may lead to parks and trails, which may have a cost. But I'm just curious, the cost of holding meetings is minimal, right? Zero. So putting together this board, I don't see the issue finance-wise, and trust me, I'm looking at the numbers. This is more just getting people together to put together a plan and really be a part of the community and see what the community wants. It could ultimately end up being a lot less than what we think it is. So,
Mr. Brewer.
Yeah, I was just going to say, one of the projects from the previous council that towards the tail end, we gotten a preview of was concerning the Heritage Center. So I could see the park board, shuffling that over to them to look it over and give us their best recommendation of what they would like to see realistically and what the priorities are among the people, not just what we think they are as a council.
To be clear, my concern was not what their meetings would cost, but that they would have a budget to work with to develop their ideas. So just want to be clear about that.
And they probably wouldn't have a budget to work with to start, as Councilmember Goodwin was pointing out. It would be something that would come, but I mean, it seems like they would have input on development, which I think is important. Mr. Brewer just pointed out the Heritage Center, which has not gone away, so there is still that talk, and that could be a very vital role. So I'm actually good with at least seeing what the involvement would be. What if we get no applicants back? Well, that makes this conversation really easy in August. So I'm good with putting something on there if everyone else is.
Well, and another task that we could assign to them is if they come up with great ideas, is helping find funding. They could help search for grants to help find that funding or private money, foundations, all of that. They can be tasked with that also, and then they really own the project.
I do believe from my conversation with Commissioner Lickney, I believe their park board put together almost like an impact fee, but not like a parks and boards fee, that every home, there was $2,000 that had to come from every home built. So they may be able to create some of their own budget.
Yeah, the city of Fayette has a park impact fee with a road impact fee and a lot of others. So you can also impact fee your new residents to death. So advice.
I'm good with directing staff on putting something out there to see what kind of applications we get back in August. If everybody else on council is good with that, then that would be the direction I'd give staff. Has anybody got any questions? Nope. There you go. All right, that brings up 7.7.
Discuss and consider creating a McLendon-Chisholm Comprehensive Plan Review Committee.
City Manager.
Okay, as was mentioned this evening, our comprehensive plan is 4 years old, probably a little over 4 years old, headed towards 5, and is in need of possible revisions. So when it was done in 21, Council asked for volunteers to form a comprehensive plan action committee called CPAC, and I would suggest that we advertise for the same thing at that point, and possibly solicit a chair to head this all up. We hired Kimley Horn to do it the last time. We did speak to the contract planner that you guys approved a couple of meetings ago, maybe the last meeting, and he is going to put together a cost for him to lead that group to revise the comp plan. So there again, we would like to have direction to advertise for potential CPAC members, and if we get enough of them, have them back to you for the first meeting in August.
Okay, so this one is another one that I definitely say we need to have a committee put together. My only ask is when we put this committee together, and I've met with Martin, and he is going to be awesome for this type of project for the city. But now that we actually have a comprehensive plan in place, and we have different things, and we have a full-time city planner here, I'd also like to make sure as we're putting this together, maybe look at having somebody, at least one member from Board of Adjustments on there to give input. I would say probably 2 members from P&Z, because they're going to be the ones who are embodied into a lot of the stuff that they've seen, and they'll be able to help shape the comprehensive plan. And I think that's important that we've had people who have got boots on the ground and I certainly believe the Board of Adjustments will have some input because they're the ones who see the variances, and they're the ones who have seen all these things over the last 4 or 5 years since the comprehensive plan has been in place. So I think it's paramount that at least those 3 types of members be on there, 2 from P&Z and 1 from Board of Adjustments, and y'all are welcome to add more to that if you feel. I'll start with, unless, Bev, do you have anything before I go to Mr. Easter? Mr. Easter?
Got nothing.
Mr. Towery? Mr. Brewer? Mr. Dean? Mr. Goodwin?
No.
All right, well then, do you have anything over there, Peyton, on any of this with the upcoming? Jeff? Chief Sal? Okay. So I would at least, however you want to set that up, Bev, I trust that you will make that happen, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. So 7.8.
Discussing direct staff on city manager interview process and committee.
Bev.
Gosh, you guys are wearing me out tonight. This is my most exciting one on the agenda. We advertised for city manager candidates. We have received 25 applicants to date. The mayor and I have ranked those 25, and we have it down to the top 12 that we plan to sit down virtually with each one in the next 10 days, hopefully, and have the first go-round of conversations and cuts. I would like council tonight to add 1 council person to our committee, so it would be myself, the mayor, and 1 council person, to then interview the next 5. So we have it at 12. We will take it down to 5. The committee would interview those 5, cut it down to 2, and those 2 would interview with council in person. Thoughts, suggestions? I am open to what you guys think.
Mr. Easter, we'll start on the end, sir.
Yeah, that sounds like a very reasonable process, and thank you for taking the time to go through all of this. Just winnowing it down, I think, is a difficult task, so sounds good to me.
Mr. Towery.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just don't pick me.
Mr. Brewer.
No, I think that's a good plan. Yeah, we'll definitely need, if they're from out of town, to fly them in to do the in-persons, because virtually you just don't get a sense, and sometimes they don't have an idea necessarily of where we're at. So, yeah.
I definitely agree with that, and Bev has said the same thing identically. Mr. Dean.
I would agree. I'm really glad we have a plan because I've seen interviews take forever, and that's hard on us, and it's hard on the candidates. So yeah, I think whittling it down and really having an end date when we're going to have a decision, I think that's kind of crucial too.
Mr. Dean, my contract is up August 1st.
Okay, there we go.
And there's 25 applicants. We're still waiting on the 26th one from Ms. Stevens. She just hasn't gotten around to getting it in yet. Mr. Goodwin.
We can extend that then.
I like the plan. I'm not going to nominate someone to take that position because I learned my lesson a few weeks ago. So hopefully somebody will volunteer. Jerry.
Just heads up, Mayor, Mr. Towery's wife has already called us, and so he's out of the, well, he knows it or not, just, yeah.
He clearly knows. Mr. Powers.
Love the plan, great idea. I will make myself available if I wanted to serve on that, but I also don't have to. I'll be happy with whoever is chosen to do that, but I will make myself available.
Well, it will be up to you guys to nominate somebody tonight to be on it. You already know I'm on it and Bev is on it. My recommendation would be somebody who has had some municipality knowledge, which leaves only 2 up here. Mayor Pro Tem's got a lot on his plate. Mr. Powers has stuff on his plate, so those would be my 2 that I would at least contemplate, but I will leave that to you guys. Someone needs to make a nomination to be on that.
I nominate Mr. Powers.
I decline to nominate.
Is there a second that?
All right, so I've been sent a message. Our online push button voting is inoperable, so we will still be voting tonight. So what I'm going to do is roll call vote. So when I do roll call vote, it's going to go down the line. We've had the nomination for Mr. Powers with the second.
I'll second. I'll vote.
You vote.
Yeah.
Say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Tower? Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Brewer?
Aye.
Mr. Dean?
Aye.
Mr. Goodwin?
Aye.
And Mr. Powers? And I am an aye.
Aye. I hate to vote for myself.
Oh, you can vote for yourself on this one. This one's an easy one. All right, show that unanimous. But I do appreciate the motion to abstain on it. All right, that brings up item 7.9, Angela.
Discuss and consider authorizing Mayor Brian McNeil to send a letter to the Public Utility Commission of Texas in support of Sonoma Verde's Phase 1B being added to RCH Water Supply Corporation's Certificate of Convenience.
I will entertain a motion.
A motion. So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, so that opens it up for discussion. So this is just really simple. This is just kind of finalizing a few of the things from our first meeting with the council, the new council on May 9th. Is that okay? As I've said before, and I don't want to just talk in a circle here, the citizens in Sonoma Verde, the cancellation of the contract took place. When the cancellation of the contract took place, it was just kind of, in my mind, at a step of what we should have done, and we are starting to do now. And that is just come to the table and talk. And we've already got a lot of things rescinded, abolished, and it's just, this is just another one of those things in my talks with our water attorneys, as well as conversations with RCH, and more importantly, the many people who spoke out on this issue over the last year and longer. So this is just an authorization to support them being in the CCN. It is no man's land really at this point. So we've had the motion in the second, and I'll go down the line. Mr. Easter.
Thank you. This proposal is, I'm kind of confused about the timing of it, because it's what I understand, and I agree with everything Mayor Pro Tem Brewer said today regarding water, that I'm looking at this in conjunction with all of the other pieces that are being put together, where we're looking at pricing, the valuation of the pipes for transfer to RCH. And that proposal had been identified early on, but it was deemed infeasible because of the PID issue and trying to figure out what's going on with that. And we were told, I think Councilman Day and Mayor Tucker were considering this, but we were told that you couldn't do that. And now there's an opportunity to transfer those pipes from the city to RCH, which I think makes a lot of sense to do that. And so I think we need to look at this, and I want to know what those numbers are. And I think as part of this process is having RCH demonstrate that they are financially capable of purchasing those pipes. And once those two pieces are taken care of, then this piece makes sense, because what I see with the transfer of this to RCH before we figure out these other things may be something that's potentially irreparable. And what I see with this proposal is it's this thing called the Chesterton fence. And a Chesterton fence is when you don't understand why things are the way that they are, you shouldn't disturb them, because that fence was put up for a reason. And so I went back and I talked to Russell Phillips to try to understand, why is there no CCN over this, and what was the plan? Well, the plan was to get water from Forney up here and that was going to supply it. And as a condition of the development, they had to ask RCH to surrender that geographical area in order for the PID and the financing to go through. And as part of that, my understanding from, and this is all hearsay from Russell Phillips, is that former Mayor Donegan was concerned about trying to set up a city water, be a retail water provider. And I'm not advocating that we do that or even envisioning it. We can't even manage sewer and garbage for our city. So I think that's, that's kind of way down the road. But with this, I mean, I think it's something that I'm not opposed to, but I'm just not in favor of doing it now until we get the valuation completed and making sure RCH is financially capable to acquire it. And then I think there's actually two other pieces to this. If we send this out now, it may affect the valuation of those pipes. And then if we do this without any compensation, I'm wondering, is this even consistent with the Constitution where we're conferring a benefit on a private entity at the expense of the citizens? Could we have gotten, if we're going to do this, getting some compensation? And I realize from what you guys said earlier that a lot of RCH members are city residents, so this may reduce the overall cost. But not all residents are RCH members, and so there's some potential conflict on all of that. And so it's a little bit complicated, but I think that for me, trying to look at this at a later date, once we get these other two pieces, makes more sense. But, that's just my perspective.
Mr. Towery?
No, I think so. While normally I would understand where Councilman Easter's coming from. We're dealing with a non-for-profit company that, if we go and try to evaluate something to sell to them, that money is just going to be put on to us on the backside. It doesn't make sense. This is not something that I see being beneficial to the people. I mean, this is basically just a support letter to complete, their CCN. So, I mean, I see it to be fine.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, I see the selling of the pipes. I don't know that if we've ever talked about giving them away, but selling them as to being a secondary thing, not something that happens tomorrow. It's going to take some time because we have to get valuations, and they're going to come with their expectations, and we're going to have ours. I think sending a letter of support to amend the CCN for them to be for this one area that's kind of not claimed by anybody formally in the CCN. It makes sense in that they're the primary provider for water in in Sonoma Verde. So to me, it just makes sense to do it. So.
Mr. Dean?
I agree with Mayor Pro Tem. I think it is a support letter. It's nothing more than that. We can't give, it's my understanding, we can't give a CCN to anybody. But we can support them, and we haven't had many opportunities to support RCH. I think this is a good one, so I'm for it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Goodwin?
I've got a few things. What weight does this letter carry? Are you the deciding voice on this?
It's exactly what it is. It's just a support letter. It's no different than, as I mentioned, the support letter I wrote earlier this week to the county in support of the roads.
Boy Scouts or something?
Yeah.
So this isn't a deciding document?
No, this is, as I typically like to give, my example is 26 letters in the alphabet. We're on letter A.
Okay. I appreciate the history of it, Councilman Easter. somebody that's newer here, I don't know all these things. But I do kind of go back to, if Sonoma Verde was being built right now, what would have happened? Would they be in the CCN? So we're just fixing something that should have been that it should have been done. For some reason, it was done the way it is. But if it was happening today, they would be in the CCN. That would be the CCN. Okay. Is there any? What consequences am I not seeing?
Being that it's just the basic support letter, there's no real consequence. I'll get to you. We're just going through part of the, a request, I guess.
Well, let's say, I don't know, next week you decide maybe you don't want to support RTH. Do you have an opportunity to rescind this?
I mean, the power is always at the council for it to come back and someone make that. I mean, if you recall, there was a point where I wanted to abolish the water committee, and I brought that up, and it didn't happen. So there's always opportunity to bring something back, no different than in our first meeting where we rescinded and abolished things as well. Mr. Powers?
Yeah, whatever I imagine everybody in this room is very familiar with the stuff that we're talking about right now. Whatever the history was that brought us to the point we are now, whatever the reasonings were behind whatever steps were taken, I want to just look forward from now. We are where we are now. And currently, the canceling the contract with RCH for Sonoma Verde led to a series of lawsuits, litigation, very expensive litigation. Anybody stop me if I get something wrong. So it led to this litigation, and this basically it has been established that RCH is going to be the water supplier for the city. The other water suppliers, Blackland and High Point, are not interfering, not trying to get that. So RCH is our water supplier. We're a major customer of theirs, members of theirs. They need us, we need them, and that's where we are. They have embarked upon getting this direct connect for us so that we're not at the mercy of Rockwall water supply. So we are, as a community, if everything goes to plan, around this time next year, we're going to have a consistent, continuous water supply. And that's going to be a huge benefit to us. From RCH's standpoint, if they have, as all appearances would be, that they have a supportive council here that wants to work with them, that wants to end the lawsuits, and it wants to build that teamwork, for lack of a better word, going forward, working together instead of against each other. It makes perfect sense to me, and I am 100% supportive. What the steps are in that necessarily are not consequential, but that at some point they need to arrive at having the CCN. That gives them the stability and the reassurance and the peace of mind that they need, but it also gives it to the city, right? Because it's stabilized, it's done. And it also gives that stability and peace of mind to the customers, that this is not, the members, so this is not going to happen again. So I am very much in favor of RCH having the CCN for that reason. I think it's winners across the board. The good thing about this is a letter of support. I'm comforted in knowing that this is step A, right, in a 27-letter alphabet, and that we are going to work toward, what'd I say? 27. You added one. Yeah, 26, thank you. Not the sharpest tool in the shed. So I'm comforted in knowing that we're going to continue. This is a good faith offering, right? And we're going to continue to work with RCH to build the best possible relationship that we can with them, where we all come out winners. The last thing I'm going to just remind us all of, we've already been reminded of, this is a not-for-profit company. This is headed up by a volunteer board of directors who are also RCH members. They're in this to provide us with water. I think we're very fortunate to have an individual like Mr. Naylor, who is the leading that board of directors. For if you know anything about him, he's the right man in the right place at the right time. So I've said enough. I'm supportive of it. You're going to get a yes vote from me.
Thank you. Before I go to Bev, I want to say I'd like that you pointed out two things there, Councilmember Powers. Stabilize. There needs to be stability, and it's the biggest division that this city that I have seen since I've been here. If you take roads off the table here, it's always water. Water has pitted us against neighbor. I've seen people tell on people because they were watering, and it's just like we've created an internal vacuum of just meanness that just didn't need to exist. Because prior to the summer of 22, if I recall, I always got along with everybody. Like there was never an issue. And all of a sudden, and you're either for or you're against. And then your friendships was shattered if you weren't. So I love the stability aspect of it, and more importantly, the citizens need to know that they're not being used as the bartering tool anymore. So I appreciate you pointing those out. City Manager.
Okay, I'm going to be the wet blanket in the room because it's my job to protect this city. I have been told a little different story than what Mr. Easter shared, but it is my understanding when an area sits in a municipality that is not part of someone's CCN, unless the city gives permission, they will not get it. So you are doing a little more than support. You are giving your permission for the PUC to grant the CCN to RCH. And by doing that, I'm of a mind, you guys can do what you want. I am of a mind that, A, the lawsuit has still not been dropped. We did everything RCH asked us to do, and they were going to drop the lawsuit. To date, it has not been dropped. Am I correct? And now you are going to hand over to them 1,095 water meters, which they already are getting the bill off of anyway, but you're now growing their CCN, and the city is receiving nothing. I'm not saying monetary. At the very least, RCH should give a permanent voting board seat to a member of city staff, because we are the largest customer for RCH. And we should be able to have a little more of a voice than we have now. So if y'all want to continue down this, I think there just needs to be a little bit of negotiation. A lawsuit dropped, and B, a board seat given to the city.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I actually feel extremely confident that on the next board meeting by RCH, it will be on the agenda posted Friday for them to dismiss the lawsuit. As far as the other part goes, yes, I do believe we have already talked about with RCH about having a member on the board. We can always go back and clarify that we want that to be a voting member on the board and a permanent fixture that is from the city staff. I certainly agree that I would not want it to be an elected member. It would have to be a city staff member, and I believe those are the secondary steps in the conversation. So I 100% believe those things will happen. And I don't have a crystal ball up here, but I'm pretty sure on Friday we'll see an agenda item of dismissing this lawsuit from RCH. And that's all I have. If anyone else has anything else before I call a vote.
Mr. Halla, can you clarify this letter for me?
No, because I'm not the water attorney.
I'll go ahead and do another roll call vote. Mr. Easter.
Nay.
Mr. Towery.
Aye.
Mr. Brewer.
Aye.
Mr. Dean.
Aye.
Mr. Goodwin.
Aye.
Mr. Powers.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. So that passes 6-1. All right, with that, that's going to bring us to item 9, which is council member reports and announcements. And I'm going to start with staff, work our way around to the other side of staff. Mr. Sherman. Do you have any announcements or anything? If you don't, you can just say no. Nope, okay. Chief? Jeff?
Just real quick update on the budget. The proposed budget to give us open opportunities to do what we want with tax rate and budget, depending on how everything turns out. The proposed budget should be filed with the city secretary's office next week, and a public hearing will be set for a budget hearing. I believe we'll post it the week after, and I believe it'll be a couple weeks after that, the last meeting in July, if I remember correct. So just look forward to that coming up.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Easter?
Nothing.
Mr. Towery? Mayor Pro Tem?
No, sir.
Mr. Dean?
No, sir.
Mr. Goodwin?
Nothing.
Mr. Powers? And City Manager?
Given the information that Jeff just shared with you on the budget, we would like to propose holding a budget workshop on Thursday, July 10th at 5 p.m., and we will provide dinner. So if you guys could let me know whether you would be able to attend or not. You're shaking your head no, Mr. Powers, you're not available or you don't want to attend? You're out of town, okay. If you guys can just let me know before we post it.
What time?
5.
I'll give a quick update on
Okay,
the...
I'm not done yet.
Oh,
I'm trying to get my yeses on the July 10th.
oh, I thought you were going to let...
No, I have a thumbs up from
Okay, so you
Donald.
have
I have a no. I have Rich is okay. Eric's okay. Mike's okay. Jerry?
You said on July
10th?
5 o'clock.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, and I'll get dinner orders later. Thank you so much. The other thing I would like to share that City Hall will be closed on Thursday, July 3rd in observance of the July 4th holiday.
Am I good? I want to get scolded twice tonight. I just want to give a quick update
Just
on...
twice today?
Tonight.
Oh, okay.
You've already scolded me at least 10 times. City manager wears many hats for me up here. Sometimes it's the mom hat, the friend hat, city manager hat, the I told you so hat. I need to buy her a hat. So anyway, I just want to give a quick update to the main sewer line that we had break. Obviously, it was not something we foreshadowed to happen, but it did. As soon as we took notice of it, or we were made aware of it, code enforcement went and checked it out, brought it to the chiefs. The chiefs brought it over, and immediately staff was whatever they needed to do. I mean, it was like, you talk about phone a friend, everybody was on the phone in this office, from the chiefs to the secretaries, everybody. And so they made it happen. They got the line shut down within the hour. And then within the same hour, crews were already out there ready to dig. They were literally waiting to start digging, got it dug up. And yesterday started the most expensive part of this project. And in full transparency, I will tell you to release micro bags, because what I have learned about what is the contaminated area called? The microorganisms, the stuff in the water, whatever. Anyway, $1.1 million is what it costs to relieve microorganisms, bacteria.
1.2.
Well, it was 1.1 for just the organisms, right?
One for the organisms.
1 million. And then the overall price tag was 1.2, and that is also not including a bill from Infomark yet or Double R. So that bill is still climbing. We did have it in our reserves. This was an emergency, and from what I was understanding, the chiefs get to call that ball in an emergency like this. And so that's why you did not see this come to a council vote, because under law, they get to make this call. And I think it was the right one. So yesterday they started the spot treatments. Those spot treatments already started releasing the microbacs into the deal. So it's bacteria eating bacteria. And they will go, they're like, I call them gremlins. The more they eat, the more they multiply, and they will keep going. Next week, you're going to see trucks staged at City Hall and the fire station, anywhere between 8 to 10, and there are huge trucks that are going to be carrying anywhere between 5,000 to 8,000 gallons of this microbac stuff. They're going to build a dam coming out of Chisholm Crossing. So in Chisholm Crossing, you'll probably see the levels come up, but that's what they want it to do. They want it to saturate, because when they put the microbacs into that water and they release it, that's called the flash flood or the flush. And that will then take it all the way through Brushy Creek in 2 more weeks, because we just completed phase 1, which is week 1, be gone. I mean, they've tested the soil, and they'll keep testing the soil, but for Mr. Kippett, where you live, you might see an increase behind your house of the level of water. So that's the update. And if anyone has anything else to add to that, it is 9:25, and we are adjourned.